friends. Hope you're all doing well. For this week, we have a story in the Bible, and we've talked about the stories that Jesus told when he was living here on earth before, it's a story. This story is about sheep and goats, but there's also a lesson in there for people. We call it a parable, and this is the parable of sheep and goats. I'm going to read that to you first, and then we'll do a craft. Jesus told his disciples they were like sheep when they cared for each other, and Jesus was their shepherd. They would be like goats if they didn't listen and didn't care. He said, "Do you remember when you fed the woman who was hungry?" "Yes," they replied. "Do you remember when you visited the old man in prison?" he asked. "Oh, yes, he was lonely," they answered. "Do you remember when you gave clothing to the children who didn't have anything to wear?" Jesus asked. "Yes, they were very cold," they remembered. "Every time you care for someone, it is like you are caring for me too," Jesus explained. "God will welcome you into the kingdom of heaven." The disciples wanted to be like sheep. They knew that they would be welcome in heaven. So how would you feel if you were hungry and someone gave you something to eat? I think you'd be pretty happy, and you'd like them. And this story tells us that God wants us to be like that for everybody. And we want to be like sheep and not like goats. So we're going to do a little craft. In your kit, you got a little plate, you got a whole bunch of cotton balls, and you got a couple of pieces of paper. One looks like it has a flower on it, and the other one's just plain. So we're going to start out by gluing all this cotton except for one piece. I want you to take one piece and set it aside. You'll need that for later. And any kind of glue you have, but this one works pretty good. And we're just going to put a dot of glue. I'm going to start in the middle and press that on. You don't need to use a whole lot of glue. You think you might have to, but they stick pretty good, and you want to put them pretty close together. So I'll just stick on a few more of these cotton balls, and you want to cover the whole plate, the whole little paper plate with cotton balls, and that's going to be the body of our sheep. Kind of want to have to let them sit a little bit so the glue can dry, but eventually when you get done, you'll have a plate that looks like this, all covered with the cotton balls. So that is the body of our sheep. Then you're going to go back to the pieces of paper, and remember the one that looks like it has a flower on it? When you turn it upside down, it's supposed to look like a sheep. So there's the face, and there are the ears. So you're going to need a scissors, and we're going to cut that out. I'm using a big scissors. You need to use a scissors that fits your hand. So if you're smaller, you should probably have a small scissors or have somebody bigger help you with it. I'm going to cut out the sheep, the face and the ears. And so it looks like this. And then I'm going to take a marker. You can use a marker or pencils or crayons or whatever you have at home. And I'm going to give the sheep a couple of eyes. I'm going to give the sheep a nose. I don't think their nose looks like a people nose, so I'm going to kind of do maybe a dog kind of nose. And then a little bit of a mouth. And maybe a few things on the ears, so the ears look hairy or woolly because it's a sheep. So this is what it looks like now. And then I'm going to take and put some glue right on the top of the head here and use that last piece of cotton that we saved and put that on the top, and that's what the sheep's face looks like. Then we're going to put a little glue on the back, and we're going to glue that onto our plate. I'm going to kind of glue it on the side because sheep don't have their head on top. They have it kind of off to the side because they're four-legged creatures, not like people. We're going to push that on, so then your sheep has a face. Now you have one more little piece of paper in your packet, and this is the sheep's legs. Now sheep have 4 legs, so I'm going to fold the paper in half, take my scissors and cut down that fold. And now I have 2 pieces. I'm going to fold each one of those pieces in half and cut down the fold. So I have 4 pieces. So I have 4 legs for my sheep. Don't have to be real perfect, but I'm going to try and make them so they're kind of the same size. And then I'm going to do one last thing, or a couple last things. instead of just sticking the leg on, I'm gonna fold it. I'm gonna do up and down folds like this. It's called an accordion fold. And I'm gonna do that with all 4 of the legs, just to make it look a little more interesting. Just kind of fold it up a little bit. And make them kind of crinkly looking. And then I'm going to take my marker again. And sheep don't have feet like people, they have hoofs. So I'm just gonna put a little black on the bottom, so it looks like they have a hoof on the bottom of the leg. And then I'm going to put some glue, whoops, on each of these legs. And stick it to the bottom of the plate, 2 in the back, because they kind of have 2 back legs, sheep do, and 2 front legs, and you're going to want to let this sit because they might fall off until the glue dries a little bit. But when you're done, there it goes. When you're done, you have a sheep that will remind you that Jesus and our God want us to be like sheep and be nice to everybody. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed the story and your sheep, and we'll see you next time for Arts and Crafts.